Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Creating Change. My name is Jillian Walsh. I'm a registered dietitian as well as a registered psychotherapist qualifying here in Canada. And today I'm here to talk about weight gain in adolescence. So as you know, I work with children and youth who are living with eating disorders, as well as their families. And time again, I hear 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds say how terrified they are of gaining weight. They are fearful that it's going to mean they are not accepted, or they are not attractive, or they are unworthy or undeserving. Now, of course, it takes several sessions to get down to that layer of the core beliefs, but underneath that superficial layer of that fear of weight gain and the fear of their weight going up on a scale, we know there's something deeper, or there usually is. Now, the tricky thing is that while their brain says that it's wrong to gain weight, biologically we know that the adolescent or the teenage body absolutely has to gain weight. That's part of the growth process. Right from birth, children are meant to grow. In fact, even as a teenager, a child is never meant to weigh less than they did the day before. Right up until about 18, 19, 20 years old, children and youth are meant to increase their weight. This is how the body grows. It's how the bones put on density and become strong. It's how our muscles get larger. It's how our digestive system matures. There are lots of things that happen in the body to make our weight go up, and it's all a part of the growth process. When I see children and youth who are not gaining weight, I describe this as growth stunting. What that means is that that child or youth is not growing properly because their body is malnourished. And that can be so tricky because sometimes those different sorts of side effects of malnutrition aren't fully reversible, particularly bone density. So of course, I want children and youth everywhere to know how normal it is for weight gain to happen throughout teenage years right up until 19, 20 and beyond. That is part of growth. So let's talk a little bit about the growth charts that we use. The World Health Organization has growth charts that are divided by sex, so female and males. And what we look at here every single day is the growth curve from 2 to 19 years old. As you can see, this is meant to always go up. And then as the individual starts to leave adolescence around the 18, 19, 20 years of age, it plateaus. But up until that age, it is very, very normal to see 5, 6, 7 kilograms of weight gain each and every year, especially in those young teenager years. So I'm talking 12 to 13, the average weight gain is 5 kilograms. 13 to 14, again, 5 kilograms. 14 to 15, we start to see it slow down a little bit on average, down to about 3 kilograms. And then 15 to 16 years and beyond, it levels out to around 1 to 2 kilograms per year. Now, this is for normal weight gain. And if somebody is living with an eating disorder, most likely they have experienced some sort of growth stunting. This is why sometimes we are looking for a weight restoration in eating disorder recovery. What that means is that that child needs to get back on the growth curve from which they started before the malnutrition occurred. Of course, this isn't an exact science. Instead, we want to look for is something called state, not weight. But in the big picture, the biggest take-home message today is that adolescents, children of all ages, 0 to 18, 19 years of age, should never weigh less than they did yesterday. If that occurs, we want to make sure, and there's a very close eye to that in any context, not just eating disorders. But under the eating disorder lens, we want to make sure that that child or adolescent has the best chance of getting back on their normal growth curve. Because of course, that will demonstrate that the body is renourished and there is no longer any sort of growth stunting impact. Now, one thing I want to let you folks know is that I often hear of BMIs being used in children and youth, particularly around the diagnostic criteria of what is considered underweight, overweight, and obese. I'm, of course, a weight neutral dietitian and psychotherapist. I would even go as far as to say that I'm weight inclusive. So what that means is that I do not use that sort of terminology in my practice. However, I do see it used a lot in the health region, in the world of healthcare. So I caution folks against that. BMI was never intended to be used for children and youth. So what that means is that we really should stray away from classifying children and youth under such sort of diagnostic criteria. Instead, I encourage you to turn away from BMI and use the growth curves instead. Of course, what that means is that it will be more of a focus on the weight gain velocity and the trajectory of growth between the ages of birth and about 19 years old. Now, folks, I expect that this is going to bring back some questions. So of course, you can always drop a comment below. I'll be there to answer it throughout the weeks. And if it's bringing up even more questions for you, you wanted to spend a little bit more time with me learning and just understanding what this can mean for you or for your child or for somebody else in your life, we are putting off a free webinar each and every month for parents. It is called First Do No Harm, and it is a 60-minute session just like this short video, except of course it will be much longer, much more in detail. And you can come, you can join me for at least an hour, and I always have time at the end for questions. I'd love to see you there. So if you're interested, head to the link down below and you can sign up. The next one is coming in just a couple of weeks. And as you know, this is going to come up every single week, these episodes of Creating Change. So please subscribe to the channel, turn the bell on so you'll be notified of our next video. Thank you so much for being here. I love to hear your feedback, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.